Hey folks, Ray Bessette from RayBessette.com, here with another episode of Fitness Through Science, Not Fiction. Here it is, the new year upon us, and everybody has their goals. Everybody starts off great in the year, or they think they do anyway. They come to me, first thing I ask them is, what'd you eat today? Or what are your nutritional habits? I like to start from the inside out. There's blood tests and other things I do too, but today, that's not going to be the subject. We're going to be talking mostly about nutrition. I'm going to show you the fiction way, then I'm going to show you the scientific way to actually lose fat and gain muscle if that's your goal. But losing fat is not as difficult as you think it is. Gaining muscle, now that's a whole different subject. That's a lot harder. First thing I want to show you is that, or first thing I asked was, how's your diet? Just to get a reaction. And normally is, oh, I eat healthy. Well, if you shop at the local supermarkets, you need to know that 90% of all those boxes, all the middle aisles, 90% of them are adulterated products. They've been highly processed. They're enzyme deficient, meaning they can't really rot. You know, if you want to find out if something has inflammation in it, how about open it up and let the air hit it and see if it oxidizes, see if it rots, see if it molds. Hide it on top of the refrigerator. Buy some organic broccoli. Put it on the refrigerator so nobody knows that it's there. Come back in 2 weeks and see if anything's happened to it. Has it decayed? If it hasn't, then it's an inflammatory. Your gut can't dissolve it. And if you wonder why you can't eat or you're not eating much, most of the heaviest people I know say they have a great diet and they don't eat much. Well, if you're not eating much, then you probably have so much inflammation in your gut that you don't feel hungry. You're supposed to feel hungry. Cavemen used to feel hungry. So they go out, they'd hunt, they'd track down some meat or gathered seeds, and then they ate, and then they rested. So nowadays, our bodies haven't changed in 40,000 years. So nowadays, what's changed? Well, it's the food. Oh my God, what a shocker, right? Well, anyway, I want to show you about a new client, and this is a typical person that comes into my office. I asked her to bring in what she ate in the morning, okay? Meal number one, all right? By the way, I don't like to use breakfast, lunch, or dinner because it's too old-fashioned or old-school traditional stuff. It's meal one, meal two, meal three. That way you know what meals you're in, all right, or on. By the way, breakfast means break fast. In other words, you're fasting through the whole night. You wake up in the morning and you've already fasted all night. So if you don't eat till 12 o'clock, you haven't ate the last meal you had was at 6 o'clock. So that's 6 o'clock, that's 12 hours, that's 18 hours you've been fasting for without eating anything. That means you're not getting any nutrients. You're probably not exercising either, because the more you exercise, the hungrier you get, because your nutritional needs go up. All right, anyway, I'm getting off the subject. So my new client brings in, she goes, oh, I got it at Whole Foods. I'm like, oh my God, it must be good. Well, let's take a look at it. Number one, when I see something like this that says plant strong, what does that mean? Carb well? What does that mean? Natural, that's a real good one. That's on all of them. That doesn't tell you anything. They can use these catchy words, plant strong. It comes from a plant, right? Well, we think so, but I don't know how processed it is and how much sugar's in it. Oh my God, that word sugar. Why is sugar so bad? Is it fat? Well, fat can't turn to fat, so fat must be a good thing. It's going to be used in your body as some kind of structure. Okay, so fat's good. Protein can't turn to fat, so that's good. It's only sugar. Carbohydrates, okay, everybody says macronutrients or all their macros and all these buzzwords that they probably don't know what they're talking about. Okay, the only thing you need to know is that eating protein and fat is good, okay? Carbohydrates, moderate, it depends on where you are, what your body fat is. If you're over 30% body fat, you probably shouldn't be eating a whole lot of carbohydrates, okay? But you need the good fats. Anyway, getting back to the cereal here. I gotta put my eyeballs on here. It says, first thing you look at is 48 grams, it says whole grains per serving. 48 grams whole grains. Now, what is a whole grain? Well, it is a carbohydrate, okay? So you're talking about half a per serving. Now we're gonna find out what the servings are. This should be interesting. The servings are a half a cup. A half a cup, so 210 calories. Calories don't really matter, okay? We don't even look at calories. Calories don't count. Depends on where they come from. So we're looking at the, let's see what a half a cup looks like. Okay. Just to give you an idea. Well, how about that? Okay. Let me just give you that. Okay. That's a half a cup, folks. Now, how many of you out there are going to eat just that? There are 39 carbohydrates in here. Carbohydrates are a long word for sugar. Now, why is sugar bad? Okay, let me just explain to you how this works. It's called the crib cycle. It's how people get fat. What happens is when you eat something like this that has so many carbohydrates, this is only half. You got to double that 39 grams of carbohydrates. And again, remember, carbohydrates is a long word for sugar. You got to double that to a cup, because most people are going to eat, at least have a cup of cereal. Okay. Now, 39 and 39, you got to double that because it's only half a serving. This is only one serving. So you got to double this. So you're looking at what, 78 grams of carbohydrates. This isn't breakfast or meal one. This is a dessert. We're not even talking about what she's putting in there. This Almond Breeze almond milk, she's on the right path here, but this is not the sweetened almond milk. Okay, and then you can tell by the first couple ingredients, it actually does say almond milk is the first ingredient. That's a good sign. Second is sugarcane. Okay, and then it goes on, and some things you can't pronounce. But the best thing that you want to get is the unsweetened over here. It only has 1 gram of carbohydrates, 1 gram of protein. Okay, so there's really no protein in here. And then she just had some orange juice, and there you go. You just stack on the sugar. So she's getting at least 100 grams of carbohydrates in one meal. And people think that that's healthy. Okay, orange juice is probably the worst thing you'd ever drink. Now, real fresh squeezed orange juice, when you squeeze it in a cup, what does it do? After about 5 or 10 minutes, it separates, right? Well, if you buy the brand name orange juice, how does it stay all together? It doesn't separate. So how does that work? We'll bring that up later on in the show here. Anyway, so what she has here, this combination of the first meal of the day is really a dessert, okay? About 100 grams of carbohydrates, which is actually sugar. Getting back to the crib cycle, as I was mentioning. So when you take in that much sugar, what happens if it can be digested? I don't know if it says organic everything on there, but then again, what does organic mean? You know, does that mean it came from a planet Earth? Because that's probably about all that it does mean. Look it up. Look at the USDA, FDA, I have. Okay, so it's a broad statement that anybody can say it's organic. Okay, so it's very highly processed anyway. So she takes it in her stomach. If it does digest, then the carbohydrates are going to turn to glucose. It's going to signal the pancreas to secrete insulin. They're going to bond together as a glucose and insulin molecule. It's going to look first for a muscle fiber or a muscle receptor. See, sugar loves muscle. Muscle goes in the stored form of glycogen. That's when you lift weights, you break down the sugar dissipates, gets out of the muscle, and then it needs to be put back in. Okay, that's where you get your energy in your muscles. Okay, that's why, bodybuilders can eat more carbohydrates, or people that lift weights, or people that are active can eat more carbohydrates because they're getting out of their sugar. By the way, if you want to beat diabetes, okay, you want to lift weights, break down that sugar, get that sugar out of your blood, and it'll go back into your muscles, okay? So that and then some supplements would do the trick. I can get people, non-diabetic, most people, within a month to 6 weeks, okay? Just to know. So anyway, the insulin and the glucose bond, they look for a muscle receptor. The muscle receptor says, you know what? We haven't lifted weights. We don't need any more sugar here. So the molecule floats around, goes to the liver. Liver can take a little bit. After the liver's full, it goes up to your brain. Brain takes just a very little bit. Then it turns into a triglyceride. And by the way, I'm not being very detailed on this. It turns into a triglyceride. Now, if it's not burned up at that point, it's going to find a nice little place to land on your body as fat. Okay? So that's why when you look at your insulin levels, which most doctors don't do, which I do, thank you, I can tell if you're insulin resistant. That means that molecule, that glucose and insulin molecule can't get into that muscle cell. If they can't get in that muscle cell, it's going to float around and it's going to turn to fat eventually. Okay, so if you're doing a whole lot of carbohydrates, that's how you get fat. Look around you, okay? Or if it can't be digested, what's it going to do? It's going to be stored as fat. Your body's, that's the way it works, okay? Our bodies haven't changed for 40,000 years. So anyway, so I got her straightened out on that stuff. Then she pulls out, I look at her bag of tricks and she's got fish oil, one of the worst things in the world you could ever do to your body. Number one, what they're looking for is omega-3 and omega-6, okay? Well, this is adulterated. Fish oil, when you juice a fish, you are not going to get the same result as if you eat a fish that has been in fresh water or freshly caught, not the farmed fish. The other scientific fact that you need to know about fish oil or fish in general, it starts to go rancid at 70 degrees. 70 degrees it goes rancid. So have you ever gone to a supermarket and you smell a fish? Well, that's fish starting to rot. On the omega-3s here, it goes rancid even in the capsule. There's no way they can get it in the capsule without going rancid. Okay, it's going to be more than 60 degrees. So when it hits your 98.3 temperature body, what's it going to do? It's going to go rancid. The other thing I would look at is it says DHA and EPA. It's a derivative. Your body, it's not essential. Your body makes this. You don't need this stuff. This is adulterated. It goes into your body and it floats around. Number one, your body only needs 7.5 milligrams of DHA and EPA at all. You ever look on here, it says 1,200 milligrams. Where does it go? Well, it goes as a free radical. And what happens is your antioxidants have to go ahead and chew them up and waste all their time trying to get rid of this poison in your body. And so your immune system drops. So if you want to get sick, there you go. But we have an alternative for everything that I'm talking about. Right here, this is the real parent omega-3 and 6 combination. This is plant-based, not plant whatever the other thing said there, okay? This is real plant-based. This right here is what I mean by parent, meaning that when, let's as an example, cows will graze on the grass. That is, the sun will come down and the photons will give the grass energy and oxygen. Cows will eat the grass. It goes in their stomachs. It goes into the meat. We eat the meat. We get the omega-3. Well, cows are, if you notice nowadays, you're grass-fed. Okay, well, even if it says grass-fed on the package in a supermarket, do you believe it? I mean, if you just throw a piece of grass at a cow and they ate it, basically it's grass-fed, right? Well, look it up in the USDA, FDA, see what they have to say about it. Because there's no standard that a cow's going to be out in the grass grazing on clover and grass for 7 years before they slaughter them. No. Okay, they're full of hormones, antibiotics, and anything else that they've genetically modified. But anyway, so this is really pure omega-3. Omega-6 also, which is your oils. Coconut oil, primrose oil, flaxseed oil. Those are the good oils. That's in here. This is what's lacking from your body. These are oxygen magnets. Anybody afraid to get cancer? Why is there so much cancer? Because we don't have any enzymes in our food. We don't have any oxygen in our food. Okay? These are oxygen magnets. This will save your life. Okay? I even put my face on it. It's called Extend Life because it will do that. Okay. Enough of that. So, what can we eat? All right? Well, funny you should ask. What I've done is got a few things together here. Fage, Greek yogurt. Okay, this has 0 fat. The fat doesn't really matter because fat can't turn to fat. Remember that, okay? And I'm not talking about trans fat. That's not even that's a chemical. That has nothing to do with fat. Okay, so what I do is I buy these. These are a buck a piece. And I've got 2 here, but I'm only going to just use 1. And what I'm going to do is just take this packaging out. Okay. And by the way, there's only, whoop, cheers. Let's see, or somebody get their wings. Let's see. There's 18 grams of protein in this little guy, only 5 grams of sugar, and 1 carbohydrate. I'm sorry, 5 grams of carbohydrates. Okay, that's about the best you're going to get in yogurt. By the way, anything that has fruit in it, that's yogurt, it's a dessert. That's going to be chucked. That's kind of like eating the other stuff I was talking about. Okay, don't do it. It's full of sugar. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and mix this in. Okay, and it looks like that. Okay, not very attractive so far, but remember, it looks a heck of a lot better once it's in you and you're strutting around looking good. Okay, next thing I do is I'm going to put, this is a pharmaceutical grade protein from Designs for Health. You can get this from me also. I'm going to make a scoop of this, and I'm going to put that in there. And this has a little scoop here that comes in. This is a small can. You ever seen the protein powders out there? They're in these big pillowcase, 10-pound, gigantic, they have cups like this that you dish out your protein powder in. Well, that's because it's not absorbable. This stuff is. This is medical or pharmaceutical grade. Good stuff right here, okay? So now we got a mixture of the yogurt and the protein powder. Now comes the almond milk, okay? And it should be unsweetened, okay? You're gonna cut down on your sugars. Now on here, we're looking at only, there's no sugar in here, 1 gram of protein, and the carbohydrates is only 1 gram. Okay, so it's basically non-sugar. Okay, but this right here is just to make it whipped up, and this comes out to be like a cake mix. And you saw how much I just put in, and not too much. And you got to kind of experiment with this and see if you like it really liquidy or kind of like cakey, like frosting. Okay, and then I kind of stir it all up here. And this is a little bit of a process to get down packed. And I might have put in just a little bit too much. Oh, let me see. Whoop. And let me tell you, the protein powder here is about 25 grams per little cup of that, okay? So you get a lot of protein. Also, the protein powder that I use is sweetened with stevia, okay? Stevia is a plant. That is the word natural, what is really natural, okay? All right. Since I put a little bit too much almond milk in there. And again, this is all a little experiment that you gotta do yourself, okay? Now, I can make 2 meals out of this one here, because I wouldn't just have 1 meal out of that, okay? And then the texture really starts building up. Okay, there we go. Okay, but you get the message. It'll start. Okay, very good. So anyway, it'll get thicker and more like a creamy, almost like an ice cream cone on the top. Okay, then I add the secret ingredient, blueberries, frozen blueberries. Why frozen, you ask? Well, number 1, it makes it taste really good because it's nice and cold. It's better than using ice. And if you buy blueberries that are frozen, if I was a blueberry manufacturer, okay, or a farmer, and I knew that the product that I am making is going to be frozen or growing, it's going to go into a freezer, which is a natural way to preserve food, then if it's going in a freezer, then I don't have to have it sit out and be oxidized in the market, okay? So I'm better off to buy frozen. Not only that, it's going to last a lot longer. And it's a natural preservative. Okay, now you're looking at this saying, ooh, look at that. But boy, it tastes real good. This is great. Now, I could even take this, put it in a blender, which I should do, and whip it up. That'd be the same thing. But anyway, so you got low carbohydrates, whole bunch of protein. Tastes great because of the stevia in the protein powder. Other things, in between meals. Marigold bars. These guys are a lifesaver. Love these things. Love them. And you should too. Now there's only three. There's paleo praline. Oh, I'm sorry, that's chocolate praline. Dark and salty. And we got a new one that's lemon pie. Okay. Now there's about 25 different types of bars that you can get. Now these are very low in sugar. As you can see, there's only 2 grams of sugar and 4 grams of carbohydrates. There's 20 grams of protein in this little guy. Okay, it's also made out of grass-fed whey, like this is too. Grass-fed everything. Remember that word, grass-fed, and make sure it's real. Do your research, because if you don't, or listen to my videos, because if you don't, you're going to end up getting the wrong stuff, and you're going to be scratching your head. Why haven't I get to my New Year's resolution here? Okay, so you can go to marigold.com or my website and click on the logo, on the Marigold logo to get these guys. I eat about 3 or 4 of these a day. These are not desserts. This is real good. It tastes good. Tastes excellent. It feels like you're cheating. Anyway, I always carry these around with me also. They have to be refrigerated because they will oxidize. Oh my God, that word oxidize. They'll rot. They will actually rot. If I open this package up and I left this out here for a few days, it would start to decay. So it has enzymes. Enzymes provide oxygen. Their cholesterol carries oxygen to the cell membrane. That's how we stay cancer-free and live very well. And that's what it's all about. This is Ray Bessette saying goodbye. And remember, fitness through science and not fiction. See you next time.